Coventry City say they are shocked and saddened by a racist gesture directed at midfielder Casey Palmer. The incident happened during their 2-1 Championship win over Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, who confirmed the gesture was made by someone in the stands and that anyone found culpable would face the strictest possible sanctions. After the game, the Coventry City manager Mark Robbins spoke about the incident.
Casey obviously received some racist abuse from a couple of fans. It's not everybody, it's a couple of fans, but I mean, you don't want to make an excuse. It's ridiculous. You know, this day and age, people need to grow up, by the way. Nobody should have to go through that. Nobody should experience that. Everybody understands and knows what they're doing. You can be upset that your team's losing. You know, you're going to give people stick. That's part and parcel of the game. If it's banter, if it's whatever. That's not banter, it's just disgraceful. It's racism.
Where does it go from here? Because you play each other again on Friday night.
Well, it is what it is. It's not the teams. You know, this is two supporters that have decided to make some action or comment to a really top player who was playing really well. And I think it's really sad that we're talking about that when Casey's had I think it's an outstanding contribution today. I thought it was really good.
OK, Mark Robbins then talking about that incident at Hillsborough. In Italy, AC Milan players walked off the pitch due to alleged racist chants from Udinese fans towards goalkeeper Mike Maignan. Maignan play was suspended for around 10 minutes at the Blue Energy Stadium, Udinese's home ground, following the alleged incident during the first half. Cass. It's not the first, and it probably won't be the last, unfortunately, these incidents that we are seeing. Walking off the pitch, we haven't really seen that here.
No.
Is that something you think needs to start happening for the message to get across? That we don't condone this in any way?
Well, if you're walking off and then you're coming back on, it's a statement. I mean, I don't know what you do with morons. I don't know what you do. Yeah. I thought Mark Robbins handled them questions brilliantly well. Yeah. You know, let's talk about their brilliant run they've been on. Great performance. You know, and then you end up talking about a couple of individuals who have decided to be absolute whatever and start making comments. What do you do with people like that? All you can do is try and find out who they are and then do the ultimate punishment. I'm not the biggest fan of walking off, but we need to do whatever we need to do to get rid of people who think they can just go to stadiums and shout abuse at people and that's okay. It's not. And football is making sure it's not okay. They're trying their hardest, clubs, because it's not, as Mark said, it's not the clubs, it's not the players on the field, it's not the club. The clubs are doing everything they can to stop this.
That is the thing, isn't it? It is a hard one to know what should be done to deal with this situation. I've seen people talk about points being deducted, perhaps, which in some ways feels unfair on the club.
Well, on the players as well.
That's what I mean, on the actual
as
team.
A club, the whole thing. Yeah.
Especially when, how do you 100% know that... I remember having this conversation long ago on talkSPORT where we were... And it could all be hypothetical and could be, you know, fairyland talk that I'm talking about here. But the suggestion of, well, could it be, let's say... I'm going to say the Sheffield Wednesday Coventry game. Let's say it was... And it wouldn't be, but a Coventry fan making those gestures to deliberately get Sheffield Wednesday a points deduction. That's the problem you have, isn't it, when you go down that route? But you do feel as though there has to be a stronger sanction somewhere on the line because we're not stopping it. It's still happening. And I understand it's individuals. It's not a club as a whole. And as you rightly point out, they're absolute morons. But I don't know what more you can do. I really don't.
Well, I wouldn't like to go down the road of points deduction for clubs because you're punishing people within that club as well who have done absolutely nothing wrong. My whole objective is catching individuals. Whatever you need to do, if it is always just randoms, because they're the hardest to catch, aren't they? If they suddenly just shout out something, but there's people around them. You just hope together you can iron these people out because... It's just a joke. I mean, I don't get how in 2024 we've gone through years of this. I started football in the 80s, early 80s, and it was rife everywhere in the game. And it was worse in the 70s than it was in the 80s. And gradually we've made massive improvements and tried largely, nearly 99.9%. It's really good. There isn't this thing going on where people are just openly verbal, diarrhea out their mouths to insult people. I find it incredible. And yet it still will happen if you give points deduction, Nat, and you do fines and you punish clubs. there will still be people that think they can take it upon themselves. You know, I used to have a big thing as well, you know, not only most people who run on these pitches and, you know, threaten players and, you know, we've seen so many incidents. Some people just ignore everything.
Yeah.
And just will keep doing what they do. Just punish them. That's all you can do. If you can give them a 5-year ban, even a lifetime ban, do it.
Weekend Sports Breakfast with Natalie Sawyer and Tony Cascarino. Sunday mornings from 6 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.